almost 5 o'clock, right? I think it's getting close to that. So got the Hoppy Poppy IPA in a can. But as a National Forest campground, they do not allow glass. There are no glass bottles allowed. So today we're drinking out of a can. Now, I might have a bottle or two hidden in the trailer somewhere, but that'll just be our little secret, right?
Welcome, friends. This adventure takes us to Fairview Campground on the Kern River in the Sequoia National Forest. This is the third campground we've stayed at on the Kern River, which is conveniently located 80 miles from our home base of Bakersfield, California. Fairview Campground, which costs $34 a night, is located 13 miles north of Kernville and has 54 paved sites configured around 3 loops. Some sites have direct access to the river, and pit toilets and drinking water are located throughout the campground. The campground is located within the Sequoia National Forest and sits in an area dotted with oak and gray pine along the upper Kern River. The area is designated a wild and scenic river at an elevation of 3,500 feet.
So here we are at Fairview Campground. This would be our third camping spot on the Kern River. And this is just a few miles up the road. Again, I'm terrible with distance. If I had to guess, I'd say, I don't know, 10, 15 miles up from Headquarters Campground, where we did a video about a year and a half ago. As of the last video, we'd had some, or at least last time we shot a video up in this area, there was some pretty significant flooding. And as you can see, the river we have here is actually flowing a little faster and a little higher than normal, but it was not quite at the levels which it was just about a month after we left the area that flooded out the entire campground, and that was Headquarters Campground. We did a video on that. I'm assuming we had some of the same sort of damage to this campground as we did down there. However, looks like they've recovered quite well. I did drive by Headquarters, and it looked like they were open for business, no doubt about it. But we got in yesterday. This is just a short 2-night trip, just to kind of see how the area has recovered from the flooding that we had last year, and looks pretty good. I can't, because I've never been to this campground before, I can't specifically see what may have gotten damaged during the flood. I will say that the pit toilets are some of the nicest looking pit toilets I've ever seen. I almost have to wonder if maybe they had been completely destroyed during the flood and they just built brand new ones. I don't know if that's true or not. Again, I've never been here. Maybe somebody who's been to this campground can let me know how new those pit toilets are, because they're pretty clean. The only real damage I've really noticed, and let me come over here and show you. Oops, I got off this thing. So my trailer is backed up as far as I can get to the back over there, and there's really this asphalt, and you can see how this asphalt has really been worn away. And right here where the steps are, it really is hardly any asphalt left. In fact, I can barely even get my little extra step down there. So that's really the only issue. I mean, this is still a National Forest campground, and so we're not expecting it to live up to the resort status, but it's the only real problem I've had. So Do I like the campground? Sure. I mean, it is what it is. It's a National Forest campground that's recently seen some flood damage, and we all know the amount of money our government has to rebuild and recreate these campgrounds is minimal. So the fact that it's even up and going is great. I drove by, I think, 2 or 3 campgrounds that were closed, and I'm assuming they were still closed because of the water damage from the flooding last year. So it's good to see they've got a few of them open. I think their 2 most popular on the Kern River up past Kernville would be this one here, and which is Fairview, and the headquarters, which we camped at last year. So one thing you might notice is I have no neighbors. As usual, my favorite time to go camping is midweek during the off season. I'm lucky enough that I happen to have a job that keeps me busy on the weekends, and a lot of people would be very displeased with that. I love it because I get to travel and do things during the week, and I get to go RV camping where there's nobody out, and everybody knows how difficult it is to get spots, especially on weekends. On a weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, this place is going to be packed. Here we are, this is a Wednesday, and there's nobody at all on this end of the campground. If we go, let's see, further down that way, you might be able to see, I think there is you can see a one site down there, that is the camp host, and then there's a couple of other RVs down on that half. I think there's a little bit more shade on that side, but it's not that hot right now. We're looking about 79, 80 degrees. So, and we're in late April. Is that March? Yeah, late April. And so weather's fairly nice. It is quite windy, and that's why I am using the DJI microphone today. Hopefully that cuts out some of this wind. Otherwise, this video will not even be usable. There are a few pull-through sites, but the condition of the pull-through sites was pretty poor. The asphalt had been washed away even more on those. So, I don't know, they were pretty iffy. So I'm pretty happy with the one I've got, but there are some pull-throughs. They're not like the pull-through like that you have at a typical like RV parking lot type resort campground. They're the kind that like pull through like around, like a half circle. So there's some of those available. So for those who are lacking the ability to back into a site, those are available for you. So
one of the more interesting experiences at this campground is the steady and regular flyovers of military aircraft. Now, the sound picked up on my camera does not do justice as to how loud these things are. Just don't expect to get a lot of nap time during the day. Being that we're about 80 miles from China Lake Naval Weapons Station, we see this quite often. Just down the road from the campground is McNally's, where you can get a bite to eat and also visit the general store. Now, it only took me a minute or two on my bike. You could walk this, but this is a very narrow road with very little shoulder, so please be careful if you decide to walk. After 2 nights at Fairview, it's time to head home. We drive past the camp host as we say goodbye to the campground. As we head for home, we would like to thank all of our subscribers. And those of you that aren't subscribers, why don't you go and hit that button Subscribe, like, and share with your friends. We greatly appreciate it. Thanks for watching another one of our videos, and we'll see you next time.